Hello everyone, welcome to the new block, Theros. Today there are actually no block dailies or anything up. These don't start until next week, or maybe it's, Wednesday by the time you're watching this. But as of today, I do not have block dailies to access. So instead, I was going to try to run this list through a couple two-mans, just to get a feel for the deck and try to work it out. Because every time I tried to write an article with a bunch of different decks in it, I couldn't really evaluate the format well enough because it's got a lot of different moving parts, especially in all the devotion decks. So what I'm playing today is, or my plan today is just to build this mono white deck, jam a bunch of games with it, and try to tune it a little bit and see how that works. So it's a fairly standard mono white aggro deck. Standard as in no one's ever seen any of these cards before, and I just made this up. So we've got a bunch of 1-drops. I guess I could talk a little bit about the heroic mechanic, because I'm actually not sure how good it's going to be in this deck. I only have one thing that targets my creatures, Ordeal of Heliod, and I guess you can count Heliod's Emissary. And Ordeal especially makes a favorite Hoplite and Phalanx Leader, and to a lesser extent Wingsteed Rider, just incredible. Turn 1 favorite Hoplite and turn 2 Heliod Ordeal is very, very, very good to play. The Phalanx Leader also pumps your team when he gets enchanted, so it's very good there too, but the Wingsteed Rider doesn't really need the enchantments. I don't really expect to be, I guess you can count Fabled Hero as a heroic creature too, but he doesn't really need the heroic, he's very good on his own. But you don't actually need that many heroic targets, because what I found when I was building towards the heroic triggers, it's very hard to get a lot of cards in your deck. You can't play all these heroic creatures and all of these enchantments. I like having more creatures than that. So I decided to go with Spear of Heliod instead. And Spear makes all your heroic creatures also good. It's just a glorified Glorious Anthem that also gets No Mercies them, I think that's what that's called. It makes it so whenever they hit you, you can kill their creature. But it does the job of pumping up your otherwise mediocre heroic creatures that aren't heroic. And if you happen to draw the Ordeal, you'll always have something to make an incredible creature with. But the main feature of the deck is basically these Nykthoses. Now, if any of y'all watch the Pro Tour, you know that Nykthos is pretty insane. It's just Tolarian Academy, which synergizes very well with these large things I have in the Bestow, Heliod's Emissary, Heliod, and Elspeth. Heliod just pumps out a ton of 2 white clerics to make your spears and your phalanx leaders better, as well as just having a ton of 2/1s is pretty good. Elspeth herself, you can turbo her out with Nykthos pretty early. I haven't played any games with Stex, so I don't know yet, but I know Elspeth is a pretty good card. Also, Soldiers synergize very well with Spear, and the ultimate ends the game very, very quickly. I don't really have much else to say about this deck. It's pretty straightforward. I have got some Snarecasters, because it's the only other 2-drop in block other than the Traveling Philosopher, the 2/2 for 2. That's all it does. It's just a Grizzly Bear. So I figured Snarecaster would be better than that, but everything else is just pretty much a vanilla creature with heroic. So I'm kind of really relying on this Spear. I'm not playing 4 Spears because it's legendary, though I'm pretty sure I might always want to draw one. So it could be right to play 4, but it feels like it'd be miserable to have 2 in your hand. So the sideboard's pretty much a mess. I have no idea what to put in it. So I put some Divine Verdicts in case there are any large creatures other than Dragon that I can't kill. Some more Evangels is like Elspeth replacements, since I don't have 4 Elspeths yet. And this guy can make a lot of soldiers. Glare against white decks, God's Willing against a bunch of removal decks, and Hopeful Eidolons against aggro for the lifelink races. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in a block 2-man, and I'll see y'all then.